In August 2025, I traveled to the Zish Islands, one of the last remaining coral reef sanctuaries in the world. The waters there are crystal clear. The white sand glistens under the sun, and schools of fish weave through the corals. Standing in that ocean, I truly felt the miracle of life. But at the same time, I knew this beauty is slowly vanishing. According to recent survey data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, plastic pollution, overfishing, and coral bleaching are eroding the oceans day by day. Someday in the future, children may no longer see a healthy ocean like this. So I decided to recreate a small piece of the sea at home. With a 1.2 meter aquarium, I will build a complete ecosystem. Over the next 100 days, you'll witness how it grows from an empty tank into a miniature ocean full of life. Day 1. Cleaning and restarting. The tank originally held only yellow sand and murky water with no sign of life. The first step was a complete reset. I removed all the old sand, which was filled with organic waste that could release ammonia and nitrates, harmful to future inhabitants. Then I turned the filter up, and the water becomes clear. This step is like laying the foundation for a house. Only with a clean start can life flourish. Day 2. New Sand and Rockscape. On the second day, I replaced the substrate with bright white sand. Besides looking clean, it reflects light, helping algae and mangroves grow. Then I began stacking live rocks. In a reef tank, rocks are like trees in a forest, the backbone of the ecosystem. They provide hiding places for fish and crabs, and their surfaces host countless microbes and nitrifying bacteria that process waste and stabilize water quality. I deliberately left gaps and caves between the rocks, which will become shelters for hermit crabs and small creatures in the future. Day 3. Seeds of life, rotifers, algae, and snails. A real ecosystem begins with the smallest forms of life. On day 3, I added rotifers, the foundation of the food chain and future plankton for fish and filter feeders. Then came 2 types of macroalgae, feather algae and red grape algae. They absorb excess nutrients, produce oxygen, and provide shelter for small organisms. Finally, I introduced 2 hardworking snails, banded trochus snail and astrea snail. They graze on algae and detritus, keeping the glass and sand clean while turning over the substrate. By the end of the day, the tank finally had its first signs of real life. Day 4, the first test fish. On the 4th day, I added 6 blue-green chromis and 4 yellow-tailed damselfish. Known as test fish, they help determine if the water quality is stable. If they thrive, it means the ecosystem is starting to cycle. I also introduced a natural janitor, the sea cucumber. Sea cucumbers ingest sand, digest the organic waste inside it, and excrete clean sand back. They are nature's sand filters, keeping the substrate pristine. Day 5. Planting mangroves. On day 5, I planted 3 mangroves. In nature, mangroves are called guardians of the coast. Their roots stabilize shorelines and absorb excess nutrients. In the aquarium, they not only help balance water chemistry but also create a striking natural look. As they grow, their roots will spread, forming shelter for small fish and shrimp. Day 6, the decomposers arrive. On the 6th day, I introduced the decomposers, hermit crabs, a pistol shrimp, and a small crab known locally as Hellas jansenensis. Hermit crabs graze on algae and clean up debris. Pistol shrimps are burrowers, often forming symbiotic relationships. Flatback mud crabs resemble tiny midden crabs. They break down dead organisms, recycling nutrients back into the system. Together, they are the cleanup crew, ensuring the ecosystem forms a complete loop. Day 7, the first hunt. On the 7th day, I fed the tank a thawed Antarctic krill. The moment it touched the sand, several hermit crabs rushed in, wrestling for the prize. But they couldn't hold on. The krill slipped free and was lifted by the wavemaker's current. tumbling through the water like it was suspended in midair. Just then, a small blue damselfish swam over. It hovered in front of the krill, staring for several seconds as if tempted. Moments later, the drifting krill was swept toward a crab's burrow. The crabs wasted no time, dragging it inside to be devoured. This was the first true hunting scene in the tank. One piece of krill, sparking chaos among hermits, hesitation in a fish, and finally, a feast for crabs. And so, in just 7 days, this tank has transformed from lifeless sand into a miniature ocean. Now it holds rotifers and algae, snails and test fish, cleaners and decomposers, and even its very first hunt. In the coming 100 days, more creatures will arrive, and the ecosystem will grow ever more complex. Each season will introduce a new apex predator to this tiny world. Subscribe and be among the very first fans to witness this ocean odyssey unfold.